Hello and welcome back everyone. The LARPG third panel from Hell livestream was earlier today, announcing patch 5 is possibly around the corner, coming out this Tuesday, July 13th. Alas, if I didn't have a day job, this would have came a lot sooner. So without further delay, let's get into it. First and foremost, patch 5 is meant to be an update to many of the features we have throughout the game, while patch 6 is planned to be a big content update with lots of goodies. General estimation for that, though, is roughly 2 months from now. And like always, past saves will not be usable once updated. Now, I wanted to talk about possibly the best and most exciting part of patch 5 first, and that is Shadowheart. For those of you who didn't get to watch the whole RPG stream, Sven and his crew played out a story that might be part of Shadowheart's backstory, since by the end of their journey, the mysterious hooded figure that showed up after the last party member escaped turned out to be Shadowheart. She kills the guy, takes the orb, and in it we see what I guess is the previous location of the Githyanki artifact prior to her obtaining it. Fast forward a little bit and we get to see a quick snippet of the artifact in action, levitating and glowing brightly. It's possible with patch 5 we'll finally be able to open it, or at the very least, learn something very substantial about it. In addition to that, we'll now be able to free Shadowheart from her pod in the tutorial zone, and she will wake up on the beach with us. This will pave the way for some of the additional permutations that Sven mentioned will be a part of patch 5. Now, he did also mention that there will be somewhat of a big surprise for us in the tutorial zone in patch 5. It's possible he was referring to Shadowheart's pod being opened, but I think it's also possible that this could be something else entirely, so make sure you keep an eye out for anything new. Now, let's go over the substantial gameplay updates. We will be getting a new dice roll system when it comes to things like lockpicking, persuasions, and such, where you can more easily control all of your potential bonuses to your rolls. If you have any passive bonuses, they'll be listed here as well as the options to add bonuses like the cleric cantrip. This will help you more when facing tougher rolls, and as an example, you can now lockpick the door that Shadowheart has been trying to knock down at the beginning of the game and get into the crypt much earlier. This is, of course, part of the new permutations being added and will be affecting the dialogues of the other NPCs as well. Another new feature pertains to the inspiration points. The background you choose for your character will actually matter now. There will be over 130 background goals in the game now for our characters to do based on our chosen backgrounds. Basically, if you do something that fits with your character's background, you might get an inspiration point for it. A part of this comes with a new UI list of backgrounds pertaining to each character and will make obtaining inspiration points a lot easier. But the balance to this is, it's now capped at 4 inspiration points, with any extras being converted into XP. And the last substantial update talked about for patch 5 will be involving our camp system. You know how up till now, every time we went to camp, it was always the same place out in the forest by the river? Now, no matter where we are in the game, the Underdark, the Old Chapel, some crypt, or the Owlbear Cave, it doesn't matter where we are. Our camp will now change to reflect it. They've even made sure that older cinematics like Astarion sneaking off in the middle of the night will fit correctly with each new camp area. But that's not all. The way we handle long resting is now different with patch 5. At the end of each night when we go to sleep, we will now be prompted with a window to choose how much food and supplies we use for the evening. Every night we'll have a goal to reach in order to achieve a full long rest. If for some reason we don't hit the mark, it'll only count as a partial rest, and this in turn will affect things like our HP recovered overnight or even our spell slots recovered. This system will also grow in materials needed as the game progresses and our camp gets bigger. So going forward with patch 5, I highly recommend collecting as much food as you can when you're out in the world. And with that out of the way, let's go over all of the little stuff and Q&A stuff that we learned. Characters will now say things as you click around, just like they used to in the old games. And there is so much dialogue recorded just for this that it will change throughout the game depending on locations, what actor you're on, and some other factors that weren't outright mentioned.
I must keep going, unseen as I was taught.
The entire thing.
Need to keep focused. Onward.
It also looks like Scratch has a new character model, and Sven has mentioned that it is now possible to have the owlbear and the dog recruited together in camp. And it is also possible to have them cohabitate peacefully together, with a vague mention of more animal stuff coming later on. Now, all those times that we're talking with someone who was branded with the mark of the Absolute and it starts glowing in response to our parasite, those marks will actually have a visible VFX when talking to us now. You can now toggle between lethal and non-lethal attacks to knock people out instead of outright killing them. Sven mentioned this is nice for the sake of karma, and it made me wonder if there might be a hidden system affected by stuff like this. Disengage and jump are now two separate abilities. Spells that require focus can now be actively stopped if you click on the portrait icon for it. We will also be able to disarm enemies. Smarter AI will now also look for other objects to use as weapons if this happens to them. Also, in general, there will be combat improvements for the AI. It looks like the Necronomicon book with Astarion and the Weave channeling interaction with Gale have gotten some minor updates as well. New weapons will be trickled in across the updates going forward. The level cap will not be changed. There will be tons more permutations in general with patch 5, so as you're playing through it, you'll be able to notice more and more of these. In general, a good bit of UI changes are coming, and in patch 5, we will be getting new VFXs for class-specific spells. This is to give each class more of a theme on the magic they use. Now that's pretty much all we're told to expect with patch 5. But as for patch 6 and the possible future, a number of things were loosely talked about during the Q&A sessions. Supposedly new classes are coming later. Patch 6 will be very content heavy, so it stands to reason we might be getting a new class or two a few months from now when patch 6 hits. It's confirmed that there are no plans for more races until full release. This way the impact of the full game will be a lot bigger and more fun for everyone. Multiclassing is indeed coming, but it will most likely be towards the end of early access after they've gotten most of, if not all, of the other classes out first. They are going to eventually expand upon the characters' reactions, and someone had actually asked about if there will be a GM mode, but Sven said that it is not on the schedule for them. If I had to guess, it's possible this is something they're not going to be touching until sometime after full release. More romance updates are indeed coming, but it's not anytime soon. They will also be revamping the entire inventory system sometime in the future. They said that they are looking into making the item and inventory UX a lot better for everyone. A setting to change the difficulty level is something they're thinking about, but it's for much later in the future. There won't be any more new origin characters for a while, and lastly, new cinematics in the not so distant future. Most likely patch 6 if I had to guess. It's also possible we might get a handful of new spells soon, most likely patch 6 as well, but Vague mentioned that we might see something in patch 5. And that, wait, let me check my notes. Yep, that is everything we learned today from the livestream update. I'm actually pretty excited about it because with this patch, it feels like the world within the game just grew a whole lot more. And not to mention the hopes of what we might see in patch 6, since it's supposed to be a lot of new content compared to what we're getting Tuesday with patch 5. Well, that's it for now. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments what you're most excited for. Until next time, stay safe out there.